This year, Chase Elliott, William Byron, and now Kyle Larson have signed long-term extensions with Hendrick Motorsports. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. I hope you had a great week. I know Bristol is already upon us. The trucks raced last night. Congrats to Ty Majeski getting his first career win. Side note, I understand people want to see a burnout, but why'd the fans have to boo the guy as he got out of his truck to celebrate his first win? That's not worth booing him over. That was last night. I know the Xfinity Series, their regular season finale is in like just a couple of hours, so that's exciting. Tomorrow, the Cup Series wraps up their first round of the playoffs. I can't wait. I love Bristol. Lots going on, but I wanted to touch on a couple of news stories that I missed this week, including one breaking news story from earlier this morning. Let's begin though with some news that broke Wednesday night. Ford revealed their new generation Mustang in Detroit and also revealed various Ford Mustang race car versions that will compete beginning in 2024, including the all-new NASCAR Cup Series body. I haven't seen many great images of it. Here's the best I can do. I mean, yeah, some subtle differences for sure compared to the current Mustang look of the NASCAR Cup car. Ford started running the Mustang in the Cup Series in 2019. This will debut in 2024 on the racetrack. The timing makes sense. I believe earlier this month was the NASCAR deadline for OEMs to submit their 2024 body designs. So this kind of lines up with that. There's not a whole lot else to react to. Don't even have a super great clear image of what the new car is gonna look like. But Ford fans, I guess there's something to look forward to, something to be excited about. I still have a callback to the Ford Fusion days set up behind me at all times. I kind of miss those days. That's the era I grew up with. When did they debut the Fusion in NASCAR? Was it 2006? 2006 to 2018, right? That was the last year. Always remember the Fusion, but the Mustang is pretty cool. Excited to see what the new car looks like in a couple of years. Next, let's talk about some big news from this morning. Kyle Larson, the defending NASCAR Cup Series champion, and Hendrick Motorsports announced a multi-year extension. Larson's deal was due to expire at the end of next year. Now that has been extended 3 seasons. Kyle Larson is now signed with Hendrick through the year 2026. And on top of that, HendrickCars.com extended their partnership as well. They will continue to be the primary scheme on Larson's car for 35 races a year through 2026. That is huge. And no, that's not money coming directly out of Rick Hendrick's pocket. Yes, it has his name on the business, but they are their own company. They make their own advertising decisions, and they are choosing to spend their money on Kyle Larson and in NASCAR. And even beyond NASCAR, in their official release this morning, they said they will continue to support Larson in his non-NASCAR racing endeavors. We've seen the Hendrick Cars logo on his various dirt racing cars as well, so it's cool to see a major sponsor like this buy into the driver and support any and all competition he enters. That's pretty cool. That's kind of old school. You don't see that quite as much these days, but they're bought in. Kyle Larson has brought them nothing but success the past 2 years, so not surprised to hear an extension has been agreed upon. Man, Hendrick Motorsports' future looks really, really bright. Their present obviously looks great. They've won the last 2 championships. They have all 4 of their drivers in the playoffs this year, so the present day looks great as well, but they are built for the long haul. Just this year alone, Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Kyle Larson have signed multi-year extensions. Chase Elliott is signed through 2027. William Byron signed through 2025. And now Larson signed through 2026. And it's not just the drivers. Earlier this summer, Napa announced a multi-year extension. Axalta is signed through 2027. Now HendrickCars.com today with the major extension. Hendrick is in a fantastic place. Man, it doesn't feel like that long ago they were struggling, going through some growing pains. When Dale Jr., Jeff Gordon retired, Chase Elliott took a couple years to get his first win. Switching over to the Camaro was not smooth. Jimmy Johnson kind of fizzled out his final few years. For 2 or 3 years there, Hendrick Motorsports was treading water, but they believed in the talent of Chase Elliott, of William Byron. Throw Alex Bowman's name into the list, and now they have rebuilt themselves into, once again, an empire. They dominated the mid-2000s, part of the 2010s. With Jeff Gordon, Terry Labonte, they dominated the 90s. Now they're poised to dominate the 2020s. I mean, they've already won the first 2 championships of this decade. It's like, well, what do we have to do to stop Hendrick Motorsports? Now they have Jeff Gordon in a major leadership role. Boy, Hendrick Motorsports is built for the future. Now, I've really only talked about 3 of their drivers, 3 of their cars. There's one odd pairing out. Alex Bowman and Ally. Both are signed through next year, so no worries there. Bowman will be in the 48 next season full time. But after next season, what happens. Some fans over the past few months have been speculating on social media that Hendrick could buy Bowman out and replace him with Kyle Busch. That was an actual theory that some journalists on Twitter went well out of their way to try and debunk. Bowman sees the critics. Reporter Kelly Crandall tweeted this yesterday. Alex Bowman saw and heard all the silly season rumors trying to put Kyle Busch in his car. Bowman never doubted his place with HMS and Ally. Quote, one guy on social in particular is really disappointed. Maybe he'll get over it someday. I don't know who he's referring to there, probably someone at first name, a bunch of numbers on Twitter, who knows. The point is, the 48 right now is the only car in the Hendrick stable that does not have a long-term driver and sponsor attached to it. And to complicate matters further, the crew chief on that 48 just announced he's retiring at the end of this year, or will no longer be on the road as a crew chief, hopefully working within Hendrick somewhere. I'm talking about Greg Ives. So Bowman is going into a contract year with an all-new crew chief and a sponsor who's on an expiring contract. It's safe to say there are some question marks. I noticed many of y'all who watch this show or interact with me on social media seem to be under the impression that I am some sort of Alex Bowman hater, and I don't get it. I think it's just because I kept pointing out how bad he was over the summer, which he was. I'm not gonna lie about that. They struggled this summer. That's facts. I want to do my best to assess Alex Bowman fairly. If we look at all four Hendrick drivers over the last, let's just say the last 2 years since Larson got there, so we're talking about 2021 and 2022 up to this point, we've almost had a full season. Larson has 12 wins, Chase has 6, and then there's Bowman with 5. He's right there. Yes, a lot of them came last year, but still 5 wins. William Byron only has 3. If we look at average finish, both Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson are sitting at about 11.5, but William Byron is at a 15.4. Alex Bowman's at a 15.1. So again, Bowman's kind of, slotting in third there comfortably. Really, the only baseline stat Bowman lags behind in is laps led. Chase Elliott's led almost 2,000 laps the last 2 years. Larson's led over 2,000 laps. William Byron has just hit 1,000 laps led. Alex Bowman's at 297. So yes, he is lagging behind in the laps led category. Of course, the stats don't tell the full story. I don't know what Alex Bowman's ceiling is. I like that he's not a driver who routinely drives in over his head and crashes the car for no reason. He seems to be good at taking care of his equipment. He's the kind of driver who hangs around the top 10, might bubble into the top 5 late and make some noise when it matters most. He's cool, calm, quiet sometimes, but fairly consistent, putting aside moments this summer where sometimes they just couldn't get out of their own way. Alex Bowman's future at Hendrick likely depends on what sort of sponsorship commitment he brings. Ally seems to like him quite a bit, and if Ally's willing to commit to several more years, then I think Alex Bowman will be their guy. But if Ally, who has sponsored the 48 car full-time since 2019, if they decide to go a slightly different direction, Bowman could be on the hot seat. They still have time to get a deal done. It's just interesting because Larson's contract was set to expire after next year. He just got an extension. Bowman's on the same timeline as Larson, and his extension doesn't seem to be here yet. Maybe it's close. Maybe it'll happen in the next few weeks or months, but it's not here yet. Now, I think even Bowman fans will agree with me that Kyle Larson right now is a little more valuable than Alex Bowman. No disrespect, Bowman. I think he's good, but Kyle Larson's better. So it makes sense that Hendrick would try to lock Larson up first. He gets priority. But I hope Bowman's not too far behind. I hope they're working on something behind the scenes. I love Alex Bowman's story. The dude had to grind his way, driving for small teams, underfunded teams. He built relationships. He made the most of his opportunities when Hendrick and Dale Jr. first really gave him a competitive shot. And now he drives for the biggest and best team in the Cup Series. And has had a decent amount of success. Look, I picked him to be knocked out of the playoffs in the first round this year. And, knock on wood, he's actually exceeded those expectations. He looks poised to move on to the round of 12, maybe even make a deeper run than that. So Bowman's solid, without a doubt. It's just interesting that he's the only guy there right now without a long-term contract in place. Either way, if you're a Hendrick Motorsports fan, things look good. That is going to do it for this episode. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We talk NASCAR news every single day. We react to races on the weekends. We'll be doing that late tomorrow night. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming content. As always, a huge thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters as well. Tonight, Xfinity Series. Tomorrow night, the Bass Pro Shops night race, the final race of the round of 16 for the Cup Series. One of my favorite nights of the year. The Bristol night race is iconic. It's fantastic. Probably my favorite racing anywhere on the circuit. I can't wait. Gonna be a late night. I will see you all then. Have a fantastic Friday.